My name is Isabel Beckford. I started a new series called One Problem. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. My guests come on, they present a problem that they're passionate about, and they have 5 to 10 minutes to offer their solution. I started this because it's a way for all of us to learn from each other. Today, my special guest is Germain St Denis. He's an experienced leader in consulting, technology adoption, and change leadership. Germain, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Abel. Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to be here. I feel honored to be one of your guests. Excuse me. Um, so let's look at this for a moment. Over the past 2 or 3 years, the pace of change and innovation has been very, very rapid, really accelerated. And if you consider that a year ago, the COVID pandemic has just added rocket fuel to this whole situation. And in fact, the pandemic was the biggest driver of change and innovation that we've had in a long time. It probably accelerated things by 10 years, right? And not the CEO, the strategist, the CIO. The pandemic drove everything. so, so we changed because we had to change, right? We were forced to change. But the problem that it causes, and it's serious, is that the pace of change is faster than organizations and people can adapt. So poor adoption of change, whether it's a business transformation, new technology, a new organization model, poor adoption of change can negatively impact an organization. Or the poor leadership behind the change can negatively impact employees and they get disengaged. So think about that for the moment, right? That's a big problem. The successful organizations are those where executives and all leaders have a more open mindset and are involved in leading the change. And this is where I come in. I can help organizations. I'm very good at establishing relationships, at figuring out where people are strongest. And I can help organizations navigate through all of these changes brought about by innovation, by the pandemic, by how we work today, very different, working remotely. So I'm very good at doing those things. I can help build high performance teams. I can help identify patterns which maybe negatively impact an organization and help them create more collaborative processes so that everybody can actually thrive rather than just survive and try to make it through the current situation. So this is basically my one problem solution. And everything about change really is about people. So I'm the architect of people first. That's where I come in. That's where I can help.
Thank you so much for talking about change leadership, technology adoption, and how it can help people navigate the different changes that are taking place. So, I have an additional question for you,
Mhm.
and I hope I don't catch you off guard because that's not my intention. So, what are some of the technologies that businesses should be using these days? Because you talk about technology adoption. What
Mhm.
are some of the ones that you refer some of your clients to use? Because this is a learning environment.
Yeah, it's a learning environment, and there are various technologies involved, and they're not as important as how they were introduced, right? So some of the technologies, for example, that were kind of forced on people by the pandemic is how to use remote video, remote collaboration. So everybody's using Zoom. Companies are using brainstorming tools like Mural, for example, or Miro. There's a bunch of those. This is all about the change to how we work. But there are major technology or emerging technologies that are used in terms of a digital transformation where processes are changed from being manual or semi-automated to maybe more completely automated, changes to enable more e-commerce functions within an organization. Those types of changes are really, really significant. So the actual technology that company chooses, whether they choose, for example, to move to the cloud with Amazon or with IBM or with Google, it doesn't really matter which one. The implication of those changes are the same on the organization and on the people. There's a lot of focus on artificial intelligence right now, AI, blockchain, those types of things. And again, it's the same idea. They have to be introduced in such a way that people know how to use them, and then the organization can derive the benefit, right? So the way I look at it is the benefit derived by any of those changes is directly related to the amount of effort put on getting the people to adopt the change properly.
Okay, so yes, it's more about how the work gets done and not specifically one piece of technology. And the
No.
other piece, which is so important, because I studied computer science a long time ago. So
Mhm.
it's about educating people and getting them to buy into the change, and that's where the change leadership comes in, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I studied computer science as well, and things have changed quite a bit, but implementing technology is only one part of the equation. So
Mm-hmm.
you can have I mean, last year I worked for an HR cloud as a service company, and sometimes the client wasn't quite ready to start getting involved in implementing this change, or sometimes the technology was implemented successfully, but the client wasn't trained enough to be able to use it properly. And so therefore, we had to continue to support them until they were trained enough. So there's a big, big role for an internal change agent. And I don't mean bringing a consultant to do all this stuff necessarily. That's one option, but the change leadership has to come from the top.
Mm-hmm.
So as to be every level of an organization has to have a change leadership mentality, an open mindset, and make sure that they realize what are the implications on all the stakeholders, including the people in the field. Right? It's not enough to say, okay, we're making this change and make it happen. Just go ahead and do it. The execution is as important as figuring out the strategy itself, right?
Thank you so much, Jermaine.
Thank you.